Welcome back, fellow dissidents. This is the State of Dissidents podcast, and I am your radical libertarian commentator, BC. Before I start off anything, I would like to first address the new people who have subscribed to the podcast, and all over social media. It's starting to gain a little bit of traction. We have a decent sized community on Facebook at this point. You can essentially look on any social media and just type in State of Dissidents, and you will find the page per that social media. But first and foremost, I would like to show my gratification for the people who have helped me gain traction, who have subscribed, and if you're not subscribed, you watch, or you have found one of the social media pages and are part of the community at this point, the brand that I'm trying to build. Without you guys, this doesn't happen at all. Okay. And also, I would like to thank whoever it was who went through my content and reported it as harmful. Okay, so to dive right into the meat and potatoes. I think it was 5 days ago I put up my last episode, essentially speaking about the medical freedom of choice and the incoming lockdowns that, in my opinion, are likely, given the state of our country. It is a possibility, okay? And I spoke about the conformities surrounding the prior lockdowns and such. And somebody obviously had some sort of problem with this. I've seen a few negative comments on social media here and there, but I'm led to speculate that it was in fact somebody reporting my content, because YouTube has an algorithm and it auto generates captions and such. So if it flags certain words or keywords, that's when the algorithm picks it up and removes it per YouTube's algorithm. But it was up for 5 days, so it wasn't. It's surely it is speculation. It's just conjecture. I don't know for sure, but it leads me to believe that somebody's seen the podcast and they deemed it harmful misinformation, quote unquote. It's actually quite amusing, because I can already hear the cries from the leftists now. Oh, well, they removed your video, but they put it back up. But that literally proves my entire point, because I had to appeal that. So not only did they take the episode down, right, and I had to move my entire catalog to Rumble, and from this point forward, I will back my catalog up on Rumble, because as this gains traction, and I see that people are enjoying the content, and more people are coming to the community. The last thing I want is to gain enough traction to where my entire catalog is in one spot, and big tech oligarchs can just take it from me whenever they deem essential. So, but this literally proves my entire point, because they were in a position where I was inside of their terms of service. I make sure of this every single episode. Sure, I push the boundary, and I tell people not to conform, and that if we don't conform, that it's less likely that this medical oppression and the medical tyranny will stop. It will cease to exist. Okay, so automatically this is considered right-wing propaganda, and it's lacking empathy for others and such. But that's not how it works here in this country. But nevertheless, this literally proves my point about big tech censorship, because verbatim the warning that I was given that initially removed the last episode from my channel was that I was advocating against the WHO, the World Health Organization, and it had the possibility to cause real world harm, advocating against whatever their policies are. Now, okay, so that means that when I said that if enough people say they won't stand for it and they won't conform, that they cannot lock us down again, if enough people agree that we shouldn't conform, so that was the policy and the violation that was broken. Okay, so I appealed it, obviously, because there's nothing that actually was harmful or anything that was inaccurate that should have broken the terms of service of YouTube's policies. So I appealed it, and then some point while I was at the shop today, I got an email saying that they did in fact review it, and it was in fact that they deemed it was not a violation. So this is the entire problem with the process, because had I ascertained that I did break the policy and I didn't appeal it, my only option moving forward would be to leave the content removed, not appeal, and then self-censor even further. And this is the entire goal. They know that they want people to steer inside of these tight lines, and should they sway outside of it even for a second, people can just flag your content and they can pull it down. And my conjecture, my speculation is that that's exactly what they want. Because then the little guys like me, who are saying way less than the Tim Pools, the Dan Bonginos, the Dave Smiths, who are saying way less than these guys, that they will start to self-censor. I mean, what is somebody at this point with 100 watch hours, and 50 subscribers or whatever the number is at this point? What is somebody that small supposed to do? Right? Nothing. But I'm passionate about this. I have a disdain for the corporate narrative, because it is the mind virus that is broken through our country and has split the worldviews in two. So I have a large disdain for it, because I have a child that I have to raise in this environment. Okay, and there's this constant accusation that what I'm saying is nothing but right-wing propaganda and I'm some sort of fascist. When people call me a fascist, it is beyond laughable. Fascism is a combined effort between corporations and government. Okay? While as a libertarian, I most certainly advocate for free market principles, and so long as you're abiding the non-aggression principle and there's no monopoly, of course a corporation should be able to exist. And but the fact that a fascist is a tie of government and corporations is laughable. How could I possibly be fascist when I'm asking and advocating to roll the state back? It's literally an oxymoron. They cannot coincide. They cannot coexist with each other. So if you're ever at a point, because I mean, obviously the leftists, they don't want to debate, they don't want to argue, they just want to push their worldview on others, and then that's it. There is no intellectual debate amongst leftists and people right of center. Okay, but if you ever find yourself in put into a Twitter group or whatever being called a fascist, and you are in fact a libertarian, just laugh it off. Because if you are a full-blown, if you're a pure libertarian and you are all about free markets and less government, minimal government, or even an anarchist, the two literally cannot coexist, because you need government to be fascist. So that's that part. But yes, so like I said, some people, they don't want the intellectual conversation, And when they hear the intellectual conversation, they have enough disdain to say something minimal or take minimal action to try to railroad you. And that's fine. I knew starting out with this that this was going to happen. The farther this podcast goes, the more likely I am to come in contact with cancel culture. I mean, had I because when I seen that it was removed, I was thoroughly taken back, because I try very, very hard to advocate my principles without censoring myself. But because I push that close to the line, it is possible that they're able to get away with it and censor me. And I thought that's what had happened. So like I said, I moved my entire catalog to Rumble, and I will keep Rumble. I will simultaneously upload to both, so that but that was the entire point of this. I am a regular working class, middle class citizen of the United States of America. There is not enough of us standing up, so I want to be that voice. I want to be that voice, because we got plenty of people who are involved with the Libertarian Party, or conservatives, or whatever the case, your Ben Shapiro's and Dave Bongino's and your Steven Crowders. And now, thank goodness, the Libertarian Party has a caucus that's worth a damn, in the Mises caucus with Dave Smith and the folks. But we have a lot of political commentators, but we do not have enough regular folks out here on the big tech platforms, on the social media platforms. These big tech giants, they are silencing our voices, regardless if it's dissent or not. Well, I have long since been a libertarian. But the further I see the bifurcation of our country and the worldviews of them, the more inclined I am to speak out. I want to be the voice that if I can make a brand and build a community out of it, that's fantastic. The more traction, the better. Okay, but I am just a regular CNC machine programmer. I am just a regular guy who happens to indulge in libertarian philosophy, and of course, to understand the opposition, I have I've read into other philosophies as well, particularly anarchists, both anarcho-communists and anarcho-capitalists. But I've read philosophy from all over the spectrum, whether it be about democracy or republics or monarchy, whatever the case is. I've read a lot about government and a lot about philosophy. And what I have ascertained is that the more liberty that is afforded to the individual, the more prosperous the society is. That is why it was so radical what happened in our country at its founding. Now, given there has been, I shouldn't even have to say it, but I will, just as a matter of due course. There has been a less than savory history among the 240 plus years of this country. But the fact that it birthed radical individualism and did away with collectivism and identitarianism was the most beautiful thing that could have ever happened, because it birthed libertarianism. It birthed people like Ludwig von Mises and the Austrian school economists, that did away with the Keynesians and said, we're not going to stand for more state oppression. Your Rothbards, your Ron Pauls, and the rest of them. And now with the New Age, we got the Dave Smiths, the Michael Mallises, the pure libertarian view. But we need more regular folks like myself that are willing to invest capital to build a brand and stand up and say, I speak for the regular folks, and we want more liberty. There's not too many people among the United States population, unless they're completely indoctrinated with leftist ideology, or they're just aligned with the establishment because they want to keep their head down and they think that's the easy route. Other than a few classifications such as those, there's not many people that don't agree that this country is a beautiful country, and it has birthed a radical amount of individual liberty, and we should go further with it. Right? I mean, how many people do you know that they see what's going on, and they are scared for their country and their children's future inside of that country. A lot of people, and it's not just because we have a full Congress of Democrat rule and the executive branch controlled by Democrats. As you see, the history of our country, it sways back and forth. There is an equilibrium between the two houses. But the one thing that nobody is advocating for is radical amounts of liberty. And this is why I identify as a radical libertarian. We need to roll the state back. It has long since been a uniparty. And now we finally, in the Mises Caucus, in the Libertarian Party, have somebody that's worth something. Dave Smith is the man. I love that guy, man. I watch all of Part of the Problem, and I advocate for y'all to do the same as well. But this is the entire reasoning behind my content and why I have it on YouTube, and I started exclusively to keep it on YouTube. This split of worldviews in our country is not a good thing, and having to host content because you agree with freedom of speech, but having to host it on one platform while the left hosts on their platform, it's not a good thing. And that was what I was trying to aim for. Sure, I will slither in the walls of big tech's rules, and I will try to avoid the censorship as best as I can. But the entire point was to advocate for more liberty at the biggest platform possible. And what do I get for that? Leftists who don't want an intellectual debate, but they will post on whatever social media site, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or otherwise, or here, and then they will find my podcast. And thanks for the views, by the way, because you got to click on it to comment, so appreciate you. But then when they hear something they don't like, rather than try to have any type of intellectual conversation, they get my stuff removed, because they know, as close as I stand to the edge with my anti-government rhetoric, and I will agree it is anti-government rhetoric, because I want to roll the state back. That would give more liberty to the individual, which is the end goal. They hear this, and they flag it, and they know that it will get it immediately pulled down. And thank goodness I am resilient, because I almost didn't appeal, because technically, the WHO says, whether, depending on what time it is and what they say, that lockdowns are good or masks are good or whatever the political winds are changing. And by a technicality, my opinion is we should not conform to that. Now, if that breaks TOS, then I don't know what to tell you. But it seemed as though they had a clear-cut case, but I appealed it. And here we are. Less than 24 hours later, it's just like I thought. They really don't have a choice. Sure, I got no leg room to work with here. So if they want to, they can pull this podcast down. But it's just like I said, I will host it somewhere else and hope that the movement and the community that I'm building follows me. It is all I can hope for. Because the entire premise of this podcast is to advocate for more liberty. That was my goal. I am just a regular single father who works his butt off. That's it. But I see, the possible future that is being slowly marched towards, with every institution being taken over by leftists. And you got a uniparty at the top with your establishment Republicans and your all the Democrats, essentially. And this is why we need to roll the state back. We don't need democracy. Everybody's up in arms about we got to save our democracy and go to the Middle East and export our democracy. No, the entire idea of a constitutional republic is for it to be a republic, not an empire. Democracy doesn't work. Mob rule does not work. And even the founders knew this. That's why they had separation of powers and checks and balances between them. But in my opinion, It just birthed a reason for the government to grow just a lot slower. Don't get me wrong, the founders were absolutely brilliant in what they did. The Bill of Rights specifically is the most important political document ever. But democracy is not the move. It is not the move. We need more free markets to decide, and then we need less government to be an active role. And that was my entire premise, is let's educate people on free markets and let them know that what we see in the establishment with the Federal Reserve and our federal government, that this is not capitalism. This is cronyism. We have a hybrid version of capitalism, and it's not the move. It's not the move. We need to educate people. We need to bring more people into this community and show them that if you even advocate against, this medical tyranny and this federal oppression that comes down from our federal government, that they will immediately try to silence you. That was my whole point. And I knew that if it was reinstated, that would be, oh, well, that's it. See, they let you have your voice. Even though it took me to appeal it, and then, 24 hours, they gave it back. But there was a contradiction in what they were saying. They were saying that I was standing against the WHO, which technically, in my opinion, was against the WHO. But they wanted me to self-censor. This is my conjecture. This is my speculation. Is that the little guy typically doesn't appeal against a $1 trillion corporation like Google, who owns YouTube. But I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. Sure, I've invested a lot into this, whether it be time or money or otherwise. Sure, I have invested a lot in this, but that is all the more reason to keep marching forward. We are almost, it seems trivial at this point. People see the numbers, and it doesn't seem like a lot. But those same people that say that, oh, it's just right-wing rhetoric and it's only a handful of people, those same people ain't doing a damn thing to advocate their principles. I don't ever see their podcast. So my few thousand views across social media, my 1,000 views on YouTube with my almost 50 subscribers and my 600 people who follow and like my Facebook. That's not trivial to me. That just shows that there's more people like me out there that are regular working folks, and they're sick of this oppression, and they want somebody who's willing to be the voice. I'm willing to be that voice. I'm willing to say, let's roll the state back. Let's hop on big tech oligarch platforms, and let's advocate our principles, because our Constitution, the very first amendment, the very first thing that they said our federal government could not do is to take away our right to speak. And as we see, Jen Psaki literally said that the federal government is working to help censor people. That was what she said. Not that she was, outsourcing it to private companies. No, she was working in conjunction with big tech platforms to censor dissident voices. And thus you get the State of Dissidents podcast. This is why I'm here, because we do have a fascist government. And that's why I'm not a fascist, because I don't believe in this fake crony capitalism. I believe in liberty. I believe in the First and Second Amendment and such. The fact that our founders were brilliant enough to say this is a bunch of stuff that our government can't do rather than what it can do was unprecedented. And it set a precedent that has since never been duplicated. You can't duplicate that. The only thing you can do is advocate for it to go further, which is why I'm here. And this is also why I won't stop posting on YouTube. And if there is news or real world situations going on in our country or abroad that happens to interlink with our country, we will speak about it. People want to hear this, and they don't want to hear it from your establishment representatives. They want to hear it from a regular person. Well, let me tell you, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. I'm not going anywhere, even if I have to start all over with my catalog on another platform. As of lately, there's been good traction on the Facebook. You should look into the Facebook page. I mean, all social media is just type in State of Dissidents, and you will find something. I have platforms everywhere. It's just the most traction has been gained thus far on Facebook, and starting to gain a little bit of traction, views, and subscribers on YouTube. And I will simultaneously post on Rumble as well for those who don't use YouTube, or for the sake of backing up my content. But that is my speculation on what happened, and also why I'm not going anywhere. I will be here. We will be talking about. I will be the dissident voice for the middle class and the lower classes who can't quite put their voice out there, or for whatever reason they cannot do it. I will do it. So by all means, if you enjoy this content and you want to see this community grow and you want to see this brand become a thing, by all means, like, share, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.